Salutations readers, welcome to or welcome back to my channel. My name is Nkechi, and for today this is going to be a Friday Reads. Now, to my knowledge, Friday Reads is something that's a type of video that I think has been going around on booktube for like a long time. Definitely before I got on booktube, but I'm definitely more heavily influenced though with Angela from Literature Science Line, since she is the one who I see consistently do Friday Reads every single week. And I felt inclined to do one for myself. Well, one, I never done one before, and two, I really am just in a weird headspace with reading right now that I'm having a hard time even finishing books because of this really weird reading slump that has persisted with me since March. So I figured, you know what, let's just take a time to just check in where I'm at with my reading, and also a little bit as far as like other media that I've been consuming as well, because we gotta talk about that too, because that's taking up my time too. But yeah, reading is really weird. I have a lot of current reads. I have DNF'd a lot of books. I put books on pause, and I'm just like, well, we gotta talk about it because there's just a lot to go through. I'll try to be a little bit quick with it. So let's start off with DNFs and pauses, but let's just start with the one book that I have paused within the past week, and that is Paladin's Hope. This is the third book in the Saint and Steel series. I did indeed DNF the second book in the series, Paladin's Strength. Then I moved on to the third book. I put the book on pause because I'm not reading the book fast enough before the library takes it back. So I had to put the book on pause. I'll come back to it when I have time to absorb the story a little bit more. And that's the only book I really paused within the past week. I've been trying to be less willing to put books on pause because I don't want so many books on my pause to be like, dang, these books are on pause. Am I going to come back to it or not? I might as well just DNF it. So I'm trying to put less books on pause and just having my brain like, look, I think we just need to DNF it. It's just not working for my brain. Which I have to say for Blood of the Root by Ladarian Williams. I am sorry. For anyone who wanted to know my thoughts on Blood of the Root, and since for my buttery with my mom, this is just not working for me. I put this book on pause since February, and I have not thought about coming back to it since I put the book on pause. So I just decided just to put it on pause and then just take it off on pause and just straight up DNF it at 11%. I think I read the first few chapters. It's fine. The book is not bad at all. I really don't think it's a bad book at all from what I've read. It could be a really interesting story, a really good start to a trilogy, but I'm just not interested to continue reading with this one. Then I also DNF'd The Prince Without Sorrow. I had this as an e-arc from Harper Voyager. I also had this book on pause since I think the beginning of March, and then I unpaused it, but then I ended up DNFing around a third of the way through. I actually had to get the audiobook via Spotify and use some of my Spotify audiobook listening hours to get through this book because I wasn't quite as interested in reading it through like my Kindle or anything because I had it as an e-arc, and it just wasn't working for my brain. The story itself is also fine. It has really good political intrigue. I'm just not interested with the characters and their journeys. The world is interesting and all, but not as interesting for me to just continue reading. I'm just like, whatever. It's a debut novel. It definitely could be still a solid book, but I was just not interested to keep reading it. I'm already in a slump. I don't want to hold on to a book for so long. Same thing with Upon a Starlit Tide. This one I got as an advanced listening copy from Macmillan Audio. I DNF'd this one at around 9%. I don't really like I think I was not really a fan of the plot progression because this is a fairy tale retelling. It actually is a mixture between The Little Mermaid and Cinderella, and I don't think I like that fairy tale combination for this book. I was just not interested. The writing is also fine. I do like the audiobook narration, but the story itself, I don't care for it. I don't care for following the main character at all. I'm just like, I'm bored. I want to move on. I don't want to think about this book no more, so I DNF'd it. Kind of the same thing also with Make Room for Love. This one I DNF'd at 5%. Very, very short in this one. I literally put the book on pause, I think March as well. Then I unpaused it because I was like, okay, I don't think I'll ever come back to this at all. So unpaused, put it straight up as a DNF because I don't see myself coming back to it. The writing is actually the part that was a little bit lacking for me. I didn't really like the writing style and I didn't want to continue reading it, so I just ended up putting the DNF. And then The Truth According to Ember, I was hesitant to try this one when one of my bookish mutuals read it and did not really enjoy it, and there are reasons why. I DNF'd The Truth According to Ember around 12%. And for me, I was just not here for the ridiculousness that's going with Ember. I'm like, girl, why are you lying? Like, why'd you gotta be doing all these little lies? Like, it's being ridiculous. Like, there was literally even a whole ass scene where, like, she meets, like, the love interest, and the way that how she's trying to make sure that the love interest doesn't know that she was working at this other job, so she lied at her job interview. It was doing too much. I was like, okay, I don't think I can handle this much ridiculousness for an entire book. It was just too ridiculous for me. But that's pretty much it as far as pauses and DNFs, honestly. Don't have much to say for a lot of these books because I didn't get very far into them. Now, a bigger section though is the books I started and continue to read. So pretty much these are going to be all of my current reads. And yes, I'm going to mention all of them because it's a lot. I have a lot of current reads to get through and I'm in various places with each of them. So let's get started. I'll start with a romance, Take a Hint, Dani Brown by Talia Hibbert. This is the second book in the Brown Sisters trilogy. I have read Get a Life, Chloe Brown in March, which y'all don't know about because I don't have a March wrap up. I read the first book, I did enjoy it, so now I'm reading this sequel, Take a Hint. I'm on page 36. I am enjoying it. It's just that right now my brain is not quite in the headspace for a romance right now. I don't know why. But when I am reading it though, I am still like in it. I am enjoying the romance so far, even though Danica Brown is definitely different than Chloe Brown here. And I am actually very curious to see how Danica is going to be falling in love with her love interest. So I'm indeed at least very excited to continue reading with this one. I hope I can hold on to it for a little bit longer because I do want to finish reading this before I have to return to my library, so we shall see on that one though. And then I'm currently reading Dust Settles North by Dina Al-Jannadi. This one I got an e-arc from Binder, specifically the Boundless Press imprint. This is the first, I think this would be Bindery Books' first book that's like non-SFF. And so far, I kind of like it. The writing style is pretty solid. It's just really more of the story. I'm like, because I do enjoy seeing these two Egyptian American siblings dealing with the death of their mother and the secrets from their father and how they're handling all that emotionally. A lot of emotions are going through, so I find that part to be fascinating. I'm just finding other parts of the plot, because that's more emotional arc and journey of the characters I find interesting. It's just the plot of the story I'm not particularly loving right now. I'm kind of actually feeling a little bit bored. But when I started reading Dust Settles North, I read like a solid 100 pages like quickly. So I don't know, I'm trying to see if I can get myself to read that book that quickly. But also though, I am having a little bit difficulty with reading the arc of it as well because I got it as an e-arc and it is a PDF. And the PDF on my Kindle is a little weird with formatting, which doesn't help. But I kind of like though we do have perspectives between the two siblings and that it does go back and forth in time. Like we have the current time of summer 2012 and then we go back in time a little bit. Sometimes I like it, sometimes I don't like the flashback bits, but I do like that we get perspectives between the two siblings. So that's really nice at least. Next up, A Drop of Corruption by Robert Jackson Bennett. I got also as an e-arc from Del Rey. This one is already out. I actually did order a copy of this sequel because I really enjoyed The Tainted Cup. And I'm also having a little bit of trouble with this one because this was actually one of those books that I also had to put on pause in March since that was the time when I was really not in the mood for anything speculative. But I'm getting back into reading a little bit more speculative. So I've been getting the audiobook via Spotify. And by the way, I had no idea how, like, I never read The Tainted Cup via audio. I only read it with my eyeballs, like ebook and physical. But listening to the audiobook is actually really helping me with the story. And I'm like, I never knew who the narrator would be for the audiobook, and I really love the narrator's narration style and the voice. So I don't know, I feel like I should stick to the audiobook with this one, okay? But I do want to get a physical copy because I want to annotate it as much as I did with The Tainted Cup. So I'm holding off a little bit on the Drop of Corruption, but I want to come back to it pretty soon. And then I did start reading Persuasion by Jane Austen. I'm also having a little bit of trouble with this one as well because it is romance. My brain is not quite in the mood for romance. Not sure about a classic either, but I still want to keep reading Persuasion. I think I made it to chapter 3, so that's 16 pages into Persuasion. And I just got the audiobook actually for Persuasion. So I think it's going to help me read this book a little bit faster. But I am enjoying it regardless. I still like reading Jane Austen's writing, and I'm so here for this romance since it is actually shorter than Pride and Prejudice. This one, I'm very much here for the yearning, the second chance romance. I'm like, yes, I want to read that from Jane Austen. So very much looking forward to getting back to reading this one with the audiobook on hand. Next up, another book that I actually put on pause for a while, then now I'm able to return to because of an audiobook, is Beautiful World, Where Are You by Sally Rooney. I'm finally coming back to this one. I'm on chapter 6, so that's page 59. And I finally got the audiobook from my library, so that's actually been helping me as well. I'm just in this weird, I don't know, I'm trying to figure out what my mood is. Since March was basically like, we're not really in the mood for SFF. We're kind of in a weird lit fic romance mood. Right now, I'm like, am I in a lit fic romance mood still? Or we're going back to speculative fiction again? I don't know. We're in this weird limbo. So I haven't been able to get much progress into Beautiful World, Where Are You yet? But I am still interested in the story. And I'm grateful that I at least have the audiobook. So I'm going to continue on with this one. Same thing also with Ambessa, Chosen the Wolf by Seal Clark, finally. Because I got the audiobook. And I really am enjoying the audiobook. Because it is narrated by the voice actress of Ambessa from Arcane. So it does indeed help with the focus for sure. And I'm really glad I can even follow along a little bit as well with the physical. But mostly been relying on the audiobook. And so far I do recommend actually getting the audiobook. Because I just knew that if I were to read this physically, I would not be able to know how to pronounce names, places, all the things. So audiobook is definitely a way to go. And I do kind of like that it is written in third person, not gonna lie. But definitely indeed enjoying my time with this one. I just haven't gotten much progress into it, so very little there. But when I am reading it, I'm definitely like in it. So that's really good. And then a book I put on pause for a while also is Vagabonds with an exclamation point by Olugosa Osunde. This was a book that I soft DNF'd 3 years ago, and I've been trying to get back into it. I was trying to actually read this for the Trans Rights Readathon as well, but I really was just not in the mood for it. I had the audiobook at that time too, but the audiobook, I don't know. The audiobook's not bad or anything, it's just that for my brain, it just didn't quite work for me, and I had to return the audiobook as well, so that didn't help. I got to like page 55, so not very far into this one either, but I'm still interested in continuing on with this story. I don't want to DNF it again, because if I DNF it again, I feel like I'm gonna have to unhaul it, because I'm like, I don't want to keep DNFing a book and keep it on the shelf, so I do want to at least continue reading with this one. So I'm leaving it in my currently reading for now. And then I recently started reading Chlorine by Jade Song. I've been hearing about this book since it came out. I've been very curious about it, and I finally got the audiobook. And I gotta say, very much unhinged. This book is very much an unhinged contemporary queer horror lit fic tale. And I'm like, yep, I'm here for it. Like when I'm listening to the audiobook, because I don't have it physically or any other copy, like when I'm listening to this audiobook, it is wild, and I'm here for it. I'm here for the unhingedness. I'm here for this coming of age tale that's gruesome and bloody, and I'm here for it. I really am enjoying listening to the audiobook, and I wanted to continue reading. And the one book that I did start recently that I'm really grateful that I'm starting now, because I wasn't sure when I will start it, but I'm also grateful I even have it, is Immaculate Conception by Lin Hung. This is the author's sophomore novel, and I got it, the arc, thanks to Dutton. And I'm actually really enjoying it. I'm actually on chapter 2. So I read the prologue, the first chapter and stuff. It is actually really, really good. I did try to read Natural Beauty when it first came out, and I soft DNF'd it because at the time I was in the mood for horror, but I'm definitely in the mood for horror now. I think I'm realizing that I'm in the mood for horror. Chlorine and Immaculate Conception, I'm just like going back and forth between the two books because I'm just like, I want the horror. I want to feel unsettled. So I think maybe that's my vibe right now. March was literary fiction romance. Now I'm moving into horror. I mean, I'm still a little bit in the mood for a romance and some lit fic, but horror. Give me horror, especially literary horror. That's what I'm in the mood for. So I'm here, definitely am loving Immaculate Conception. It definitely feels a little bit weird to me because I'm not familiar with the art world like that. It is very much heavy on like the art world and being an artist, which I think really makes sense because of the author's background. I don't think the author is a visual artist. I think the author is a performing artist. Like I think of violinist or something. I can't remember. Something about the performing arts though than visual arts, since this book is a visual arts related book. But I really love the way on how the author is talking about art and this main character who is obsessed with this other artist in their art school. So definitely here for it. But that's it as far as books I've started and continued reading. Now there is a book though I did actually finish reading this week that I'm at least glad that I was able to at least finish reading something, because I was really struggling what to finish. I started and finished reading this one book in a day, mostly because it was a novella. But it is Don't Sleep with the Dead by Nevo. This I got as an e-arc from Tor.com and an advanced listening copy from Macmillan Audio. So thanks to both of them for these review copies in exchange for an honest review. And I have to say, I'm going to say full disclosure, I did not read The Chosen the Beautiful. And this book is a standalone companion to The Chosen the Beautiful. Now, will I say you need to read The Chosen the Beautiful? I don't think you have to. But for me, I was a little confused, not gonna lie, on the world, because I didn't read The Chosen the Beautiful. So I was not aware of certain things with the world and the magic and the characters. But one thing I do know, though, is that these characters are familiar to me because I read The Great Gatsby. Even though I have not reread The Great Gatsby in like years. Like, I've only read The Great Gatsby once, and that was in high school. But with that limited knowledge that I barely remember, I still was able to at least follow along regardless. It's still a good story. Nevo also has a really great writing style, and in this story we are following Nick Carraway. And I was not aware of how Nevo portrays Nick Carraway in this story, if you know what I mean. I'm not going to say anything else, because if you haven't read The Chosen Beautiful, or you haven't read this book either, I won't know. But I do actually like the way that Nevo has portrayed Nick Carraway in this novella. I definitely will be reading The Chosen the Beautiful, though, because I want to know way more about this version of The Great Gatsby. Like, I'm so intrigued that even I want to reread The Great Gatsby. It wasn't a classic I really loved or anything. I thought it was kind of fine. Definitely fine to like read for school. So I feel like when it comes to something like Don't Sleep with the Dead, I don't know what to really say because I have not read The Chosen the Beautiful, but I will still recognize it as still a really good story. It's a very good novella. I did give it 4.25 stars, mostly because of my lack of knowledge of the world, but it's still a really good story. And I definitely did like how it ended as well. It was a very abrupt way to end, but I think it also makes sense. And I really also like the audiobook. The audiobook, that's really mostly where I read it from. Not so much on my Kindle. I did start off with my Kindle and listen to the audiobook, but then I just went with the audiobook solely. And I gotta say, the audiobook was really, really good. So I definitely do recommend the audiobook. It's about 2 hours, 38 minutes, so very short. You can read that within a day. It's a really good story. It's really well written. I really like it how it's a queer historical fantasy with Nick Carraway and Jay Gatsby. Even the portrayal of Jay Gatsby was also very interesting. I liked on how Nevo was able to write Jay Gatsby quite monstrous, which makes sense. And I also kind of like the way I also love the way actually Nevo wrote about desire as well. Now, see, now I just really need to like read The Chosen the Beautiful. Man, I don't know. Maybe you need to read The Chosen the Beautiful before this one. Maybe. But if you read this novella and you're intrigued, you really enjoy it, definitely go back to The Chosen the Beautiful, because that's what I'm going to do. Am I going to also reread The Great Gatsby? Probably. Because why not? I have to say, this was really good. Look, Nevo cannot write a bad book, okay? She just can't. I don't know how she does it. I just don't know. But she can never write a bad book to me. Not really the most coherent review, but I hope this helps y'all to know what you're going to get into with this Don't Sleep with the Dead, because I don't know how else to talk about it. And then now we're going to talk about the things I've been watching and consuming besides books. So first up actually is I watched The Residence on Netflix. I watched the entire show. I did watch the pilot originally with my mom, and then I think I took a break before I continued watching the rest of the season. My mom did not finish watching the show. She got a little bit bored because the show is long. Each episode is pretty long. The very first episode was actually 50 minutes, and these episodes are still around 50 minutes until the last two, I think, were over an hour. So it's a very long, it's a long show. There's a lot of content there. But I think it makes sense because if you don't know, The Residence is basically a murder mystery where we have a detective trying to solve the case of the murder of the chief usher of the White House. There were a lot of people that's possible who could have possibly done it. So I see why each episode had to be long, because there were so many red herrings to go through and to decipher if it is truly an actual suspect or a red herring. But I will just say, I did enjoy this show. I really enjoyed it. I do think it's long. I do think these episodes are a little bit too long. But I still enjoyed it regardless. It's not very fast paced. It's a little bit slow. There's like, I think 8 episodes, so a little bit slow, but majority of the show does take place within a night. And then there's some time in between because we also have this court case, this hearing thing about what happened to, like, who murdered the chief usher and stuff. So that also took like within a day or two or something like that. But yeah, I really did indeed enjoy The Residence. I like how dark and witty it was. I really liked the wit. I really liked Cordelia Cup, who was the detective. She was very peculiar, but I really liked her. And also, if you watch the show, you're gonna know so much about birding, more than you probably would have thought. Like, damn, I did not ask about learning to know all the stuff about birding. Like, what do I know about birding? I knew nothing, but I learned a lot more from that show. So yeah, I do recommend it if you have Netflix to watch it. Definitely give yourself a couple days to watch it since it's pretty long, maybe an entire week. Then I started actually rewatching Ruby with one of my siblings. Actually, they wanted to rewatch Ruby because I don't know, we're thinking about Ruby and they wanted to be like, hey, I want to rewatch the show so that I'm like, if anyone wants to talk to me about the show, I can be like, hey, I can pinpoint to this episode or this volume. And I'm like, well, I've seen the show twice. Watched the first time around by myself. The second time I watched it was my siblings' first time watching it. So now it's their first rewatch and my third time watching it. We got to volume 5, I think towards the end of volume 5. So I had to wait for them to come back in the upcoming weekend so that we could finish off the last episode of volume 5, and maybe we can get through volume 6 and 7. There's like there are 9 volumes. I've only watched 8. I did not care for watching volume 9 when it first came out. But I will watch volume 9 for the first time upon my siblings' rewatch because I'm not watching it by myself. So yes, granted though, if you're familiar with this show, Ruby, you will know that it no longer is available to even watch, but my sibling and I, we have found ways to rewatch Ruby. Even though we did not have any of the physical media, if that's what you're wondering. But yes, we've rewatched the first 5 volumes so far. As far as also what I've been watching, I've also recently watched The Woman King 2022 for the first time this week. I am not sure what I really think about it. I do know there's a little bit of controversy on the film because of the historical accuracy of the film regarding the Daimi tribe and the Algozi soldiers as well. But I will say that I think it's still a well-shot movie. I think the storyline is pretty solid. The only parts I wasn't really sure about is for the Dahomey tribe, because the Dahomey kingdom, actually I should say, they prospered through selling African slaves during the Atlantic slave trade to Europeans. That's how they got a lot of their prosperous money and all that to expand their empire. And while the film did mention it, it didn't quite sold me on how they would move away from the Atlantic slave trade, because the general that ends up being the Woman King, she was trying to convince the king of the Dahomey kingdom to find other ways, and it didn't quite sell me on how they would do that, because it wasn't much of a focal point. It's more about becoming the Woman King. So I didn't particularly love on how that part got brushed aside, honestly. So I kind of give the film like a 3. I still think it's a solid enough film. It's well shot. I do like the performances and all that. I like the score and the music, and also the action scenes, like the stunts were really good. But I don't particularly love and how they kind of brush aside this part of the Dahomey Kingdom's history that I think was where a lot of people were mad about, is this lack of focus on that part of its history. But I don't know, do I recommend it? If you're curious, it could be a solid watch, but I didn't love it. And then lastly, I finally got back into playing Tears of the Kingdom again. Unfortunately though, because I have not played this game since, I think November or something. Yeah, it might be of November. Because when I came back to playing it again this past week, the game did not save where the last time I was at, which I could have when I saved, maybe it didn't back up properly or something on the Switch. I don't know what happened, but I ended up having to restart the entire thing. So I'm pretty much back to ground zero again. Well, not quite ground zero, but I'm restarting the game all over again. Granted though, since I know a lot about the story of the game and where to go places and what not to do anymore, I'm able to get through it a little bit quicker because I'm already in the Wind Temple already with Tulin and all that. So progress has been made, even though I've only played for a few days. So definitely made some pretty good progress, at least with Tears of the Kingdom. And yeah, that's pretty much it, y'all. That's all I really have to say for these Friday reads. Sure, we talked about books, but we talked about non-book things. But yeah, my time has been all over the place with regarding reading. It's really a struggle to even finish reading a book. I can start as many books as I want. I can DNF as many books, I can pause as many books, but finishing a book, I don't know what happened. I don't know how to do that, I guess. But yeah, that's it. That's all I have for you. I hope y'all enjoyed this video. I don't know how often I'll make a Friday Reads video, but if this slump continues on like this, I might have to make these Friday Read videos a little bit more often than I thought. So we shall see as time goes on here. But thank you all though for watching this video. Like the video if you like it. Comment down below, how is y'all's reading this week? Please tell me, are y'all in a reading slump? Is things slow for y'all, or are y'all just reading like a machine? Like what? Y'all let me know, check in. Like this, let me know how y'all feeling with your reading. If you're watching something, listening to something like a podcast or a new album, I don't know, let me know. Just a nice check-in. And if you made this far into the video, you're not sure what to say, but wanted to leave me emoji to let me know you're here. Okay, well, since I read Don't Sleep with the Dead by Nevo, we should leave a Statue of Liberty emoji since the book takes place in New York. Down in the comments down below. Anyways, thank you all again for watching this video, and I hope to see you all in my next one. Bye!